So let's take a look at some of the top free agents that are still available. This is from NFL.com. You mentioned Jadeveon Clowney, also out there. Melvin Ingram, we'll run through a couple of them. You look at some of the interior guys. There's Akeem Hicks. Hughes, another report from Mary Kay Cabot that the Browns have had interest in Jerry Hughes. Trey Flowers, another guy. Some familiar names a little bit as you go further down that list. Larry Ogunjobi, Sheldon Richardson, both have played for the Browns in the past. And then we're going to throw in a couple of wide receivers, Will Fuller, and then Julio Jones. And you see the age there, and Julio was injured and not as productive for the Titans. So of those guys, who makes sense when we run down those? Start with the defense, and if you think either of those wide receivers, we'll get to them in a minute. But of those defenders, does anybody interest you there?
I would think Akeem Hicks makes some sense there. Also, I would say Jerry Hughes would make some sense. And that's really about it. I feel like, Larry Ogunjobi would be somebody who makes sense if they can't get anybody at like 44, 78 that they like there at D tackle. Just because we know Larry can get to the quarterback at the very least. It's just going to take time for him to get on the field. And we know what Larry can do. We know he has chemistry there. Sheldon Richardson is a little bit old at this point, so I don't see that one kind of being the thing that they do. And he was not very good last year at all or disciplined, so that was an issue for Minnesota. Remember Cleveland in the game that they had versus Minnesota, Sheldon Richardson helped by getting like a couple of unnecessary roughness penalties against the Browns. So, it's not a great pool. It's the older veteran players looking for 1 year. And that's really all that you can do at this point of free agency, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of what the Browns are. That's what you need. You need somebody that can come in and do a job for you. You're not going to get a superstar by any stretch. I think Clowney probably is the one guy who could make a pretty significant impact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Clowney's somebody who can come in, make an impact. I kind of don't even want to consider him a free agent. I just hope he's still on this team because I think their defensive line would be in trouble if they don't have Clowney, right? Because he's such a big part in what I felt like made that defense hit that next level. So again, Clowney would be integral part of this team to re-sign. I hope they get that done as soon as possible.